I'm Warren Davis, and you're watching the Evercade Effect.
Evercade Effect.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Evercade Effect. I'm your host, and alright, so I am very excited to do my follow-up on the Duke Nukem carts. Put up your dukes! Sorry, it's the first thing I thought of when I heard this, but anyways, let me explain to you how all this works. So if you haven't checked out my first initial impressions video that I made back in December, I'm going to go ahead and throw up a link there, and in the description below, go ahead and click on that. That's where I go through, do a lot of gameplay and whatnot. This is my follow-up video that I do 2 weeks later. Of course, it's much, much later than that, but we're going to go ahead and get into it. I will tell you that I really enjoyed these games so much that I was eager to go ahead and complete them, and I did, and we're going to talk about that. So this video is, you know, in reference when I got to spend more time with the Evercade carts. We'll go into the VPS. We'll look at the time that I played, you know, on the cartridge itself there in the VS and other things. And sometimes I may like show certain parts or whatnot, but for more, this is kind of a more detailed analysis, kind of going through some things and how do I feel about 2 weeks later. Of course, it's much longer than that since this, God, we got these carts like end of November actually. So yeah, I have my controller here. So let's go ahead and let's dive into this. All right, so we have the first, you know, collection here. And yeah, we're gonna focus on this guy here and talk about the Duke 1 and 2 remastered. Boom. So let's go in. So first, yeah, there's my total. I like to go ahead and talk about my total time, how many save states, and all that fun stuff. Although, being that this is a native game, you're not going to see the save states and the load states. Let's just say there's a lot. You can only imagine. I played this on 16 different times in just over 12 and a half hours. Now, there are two games in this. I should go ahead and point out that this is for both Duke 1 and Duke 2, and I want to say Duke 1 has about 10-ish or so episodes, and then there's 3 of them, and then Duke 2 has 4, and it's about the same. So pretty long there. You get a lot of enjoyment out of them. And so once we get it loaded up here, you'll see we have a choice. Yeah, press A. I pressed it. You'll see we have a choice between, you know, one or two of the games, and I don't want to play to you know, spoil, but yeah, you can see here how far I've gotten in the different slots. So yeah, episode 3, level 10, and that's, you know, the time is just on that particular episode, not the not the whole thing. And then if we go ahead and we go into 2, take a quick look. Yeah, it'll roughly be about the same. But you can see 2, it's a little bit shorter in the number of episodes, but still, there's 4 of them compared to 3. So yeah, just wanted to kind of throw out some nerd stats there, because I always like love that kind of stuff, and I think those of you watching too, that yeah, I spent quite a time playing this game. So yeah, let's get into this. So I will tell you that I got hooked like immediately after I did my initial impressions. Yeah, there was that a little bit frustration of just kind of getting used to things. This game is super, super fast paced, but then I was really hooked. One thing I did want to touch on, having this being a remaster is a huge difference. And what I mean is during the game, you can press select and you can see the game itself. And if you go back and, you know what, if you go back and forth, I'm going to do this because I think this is so important, and I think this is where Blaze knocked it out of the park, because if they just went the lazy route and just said, hey, we're just going to throw these 2 games on here and be emulated, this wouldn't have been nearly as good. Not nearly as playable. Yeah, it would have been kind of fun, but... sorry, dry throat there. I wouldn't have had the appeal, because you can easily go out and play these in other emulators. This, at the time of recording this video, you could only play these remasters here, right? You can't you can't play them anywhere else. So I did do continue. So you look at this, first of all, it fits the full screen, which is really nice, and you can smoothly move and jump. If we hit select, yeah, look how choppy that is. I mean, and they improved the graphics just enough. Plus you can see it so much better, but man, God, it is just so choppy, and this game is just so fast paced that really, I mean, like, look at that. It's just, and then you do this, and yeah, look how much better the graphics are, and I feel like I have so much more control, and it looks. Oh, plus the music in this is freaking killer. The initial game, didn't have any type of soundtrack or anything like that. But yeah, so the remaster and what needed to be, there's the boss. It's probably not a good example. Let me go back. There we go. I think, yeah, here's an earlier save. So yeah, so much easier. Look how smooth the scrolls. Yeah, I just want to get to a place where I can jump. And then now if I switch back, it's just like, it's not nearly as smooth scrolling. You don't get to see the full screen and all that. It just kind of feels weird. So yeah, just had to really go in there and point that out how important that is. So first of all, they did the remaster, which made an already great game fantastic. Added a kick-ass soundtrack, and they did it right. So while there isn't built-in native save states, you don't need to. You can save the game at any time. So it's just as good. You go into the menu, you save, you're good, you're done. So they captured all that. Plus the game automatically saves after you beat each level in an episode. So you can always go back. If you foobar something up, I think there's 1 or 2 points I actually may have had to do that. So yeah, kind of like the Sunsoft collection and some other collections I played recently, I got glued to this, and that this game is so much fun because not only is it a platformer, right? You have to go through, you have to figure out the levels, you have to get the keys, you have to get the gravity glove, you get boots to jump higher, you get your better versions of your gun, and you definitely need some of these things. So it has the puzzle elements. You need to figure out how to get through the level. It's fun to spell out Duke for the extra points. And yeah, you have a lot of things coming and flying at you, and just a lot of other weird, crazy things. Like at some point, you can knock over rockets and all that. And the story changes from the second one. So the funny thing is, like, the aliens have captured you, and they want to analyze your brain and all that. And the cutscenes are neat. Like I don't know if they enhanced those or not, but they definitely still kept the DOS vibes and all that, if you will. So for me, this is just a game. After I beat the first episode, boom, I went ahead and completed the second one. And I want to say when I went through gaming, and I did this was the main game that I was focused on that I played. And I think playing it, I want to say maybe it took me like 2 weeks to get through both of them. Yeah, because I was playing it straight through, had more time during the Christmas holidays and all that. Could have been a week. I can't remember. But the point is, I couldn't put this down. I would put it down if I got frustrated at a point, and then I'd go back maybe a couple hours later that day or the next day. Same with bosses and all that. Oh, man, sorry. Really dry throat here. And there were a few times where I think I needed to look at 1 or 2 strats, but for the most part, I was able to figure everything out. And it was just so much fun because each level is like a maze. As I stated, you got to find the key, or you got to hit the switch of the gravity glove and all that. And it's just, or keys, I should say. And it was just really neat. Well done, fast-paced game. And it's just amazing. And I never got to play this. So yeah. Definitely, it's a top-tier Evercade game. This is beyond S-tier. If you don't own it already, you need to get it. It is worth it alone, just for the first 2 Dukes. Totally 100% worth it. That's what I spent my time and attention on. Now, I thought I quit out of this. Now, I did play the PlayStation version of this. I think in the initial video I said that and you can see I've only played 52 minutes 5 different times. And I think I said that, like, I may have to go back and play the Steam version. I didn't do any of that. A viewer, I apologize, I can't remember your name, but they did say that you did need to go into the settings and switch like the default of turning from fast to slow, and then the game is playable. And I did that, and the game is fully playable. Man, you can see here, it does take forever though for this to load. PlayStation games take a really long time. As of now on the Evercade, and once you do go through these options and you have a game save, then you don't have to go back and do this again. And see here, medium, slow. You want to definitely turn to slow. One thing I don't understand, because Blaze they said, hey, we've gone ahead and tweaked and made the settings. I don't know why they didn't make this the default. Kind of weird. I mean, it should have been set to slow from the beginning. Maybe they couldn't do that in the custom button mappings. I don't know. But this really needed to be changed. This made a big difference because you could actually aim and shoot. At the time of recording this video, save state functionality is broken in that you can take save states. Here, I'll show you. You can take save states, but you can't load them. So if I go to my quick save and I do load, Nothing happened. Nothing happened. You know, it was kind of disappointing. For the fun of it, I wanted to reference the famous, movie theater scene of the girls in bikinis. Can't do it. Can't do it. But I can take a new save state very easily. I was blocking, but I can't load it. Luckily, what you can do is you can save to memory card. Although, being that we have save state functionality, that needs to get fixed, and I'm sure Blaze will fix that in a future firmware update. But just want to point that out. Didn't stop my enjoyment, though. Definitely, once you make those settings, it's still fun to play and use a controller. Of course, it is completely inferior compared to the PC port because the PlayStation version was. I mean, all the console version ports of your Dooms, your Quakes are inferior to the PC port because at the time you're limited by the technology and whatnot. And then it's just a preference if you want to, go ahead and use a mouse or, and keyboard or use a controller. Either way, not a big deal. Once I turned that down, I was able to control it. But being that I've played through that game, I want to say, I think like twice on PC. That's something that I wasn't as eager to go back and play again. Even though when I say recently, I think maybe I mean like 5 years ago, more so. But yeah, Duke 1 and 2, I never played it. Oh my god, I never played it. And I just had to dive in and go ahead and play it. And I was glued to it. And I love these type of games. Blaze needs to do a remaster like this once a year. So Blaze, I'm going to hold you accountable to this. You have set the standard now that you're going to do at least one remaster per year or original native game. They run smoothly, run better than the emulation actually. And this, you guys nailed it out of the park. S tier, 10 out of 10, whatever highest rating. I cannot find any flaw with this game. Definitely having the soundtrack was a nice touch, and they didn't even have to do that. It was great that they remastered it and they wanted the sound. I think they took inspiration from Duke 3D, and quite frankly, they could have even just left off the Duke. They could have just left off the Duke 3D and had this be just Duke 1 and 2, and it still would have been worth it. Still would have been totally worth it. This is a must-have for any Evercade owner. Plays great on the VS. I played like 99% of this on the VS, cranked up the volume. Plays great on the EXP. Sure, you can play it on the Super Pocket, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. At least for me, it wouldn't be as enjoyable on a smaller screen, but you certainly can. The nice thing about the Evercade ecosystem, the saves go with you. But yeah, highly recommend if you don't have it, you need to definitely go ahead and get this. Oh, I love this game so much. And not only that, if I am glued into a game where I cannot stop playing it, that screams volumes. I think that speaks for itself. And not only that, it was so enjoyable to where, yeah, after I beat the first one, I could have taken a little bit of a break, but no, I wanted to dive into the second one. And then after that, however, I do find now that for me, for games around like between the 4 to 10 hours or 4 to 8 hours is my ideal time for completing a game. So being that both of these games were 12, that was perfect. It was just the right amount of length. I knew we grew up in a time where people were like, must have a game with 100 hours. Now in my adult years, do I dare say, where time is limited, I like to have the complete experience. I don't want a short game that's only like 30 minutes, but I don't want something that's like 50,000 hours. I want it to be a good length. These were great lengths. I fully enjoyed it. This would be, not only that, this would actually be a cart that I could see myself going back to in another maybe year or so, playing through these again. That's how great they were. Definitely, I could see doing that. And then while you're at it, yeah, sure, pop into Duke 3D. I'm sure I'll be playing that again because that's also a great game. But man, these are super solid. I enjoyed them, recommended them enough. I can't recommend them enough is what I mean. I'm so excited. I'm tripping over my own words. And yeah, what a great way to start off 2024. So what I'm going to be doing at least until the end of February is catching up, doing all my follow-up videos. I do need to also do the Duke 2 collection. However, I'm waiting on Video Games Plus to send me the second cart from their supplier. Not their fault. That won't be to the end of February. However, I may go ahead and do my first impressions and play it, knowing that the second game doesn't work. I don't know. I may still do that, and then I can always do my follow-up video when I get the replacement cart. Yeah, we'll go ahead and see. But yeah, like Good Boy Galaxy, Astabros, all of those. I need to do my 2 week later follow-ups, and I'm super excited about that. I may throw in a game of the month there. And again, thank you so much, everybody, for helping me getting to 1,000 subs. It means the world. I know I've talked about it on Evercast, but I just have to say that now. I couldn't have done this without you, and it just really warms my heart. But that I know there's enough people out there that enjoy my content, that are into Evercade and all those cool things. And every single comment I read, I respond to, and you all just mean the world to me. And so before I leave you here, do want to plug that if you want to offer additional support other than somebody to the channel, just for $1.99, you can join the memberships. And what I always do is I do at least one extra video, kind of behind the scenes. Last video I did was called Let's Cringe, where we started watching earlier videos. I will do like derps and outtakes and all that. And when I can, I'll also push the video earlier. Channel members will do that during Evercast, which is a weekly podcast. If you're not subbed to this channel, you want to go ahead and do that, where I talk with my buddies Pete, Rich, and Crow, everything Evercade related, and I call out channel members, and I will also put your name in end credits. And what I've started doing is YouTube is like give out free memberships, which I will do that, and so you'll get all the perks and benefits if you join Evercast Live, and I have some of those free memberships to give out. I will go ahead and do that. The only thing, just kind of time-wise and feasible for me to do, is with the trial memberships to add people to the end screens. Because part of it you'll see here in a moment, I add all my members to that, but to constantly keep adding and removing people would be a little bit of a nightmare. But if you do join on permanently, that will happen. Either way, like, subscribe, support, comment below, share, comment below. Let me know, what do you think of the Dukes? Or are you gonna if you haven't gotten them, or you're on the fence of getting into Evercade ecosystem, let me know. Let me know what's holding you back, and all that stuff. And thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.